I wasn't trying to be funny. It was just the truth. You asked me what day it was. The answer's on the board. It wasn't like saying, are there two people in the room? Well, yeah, I can see them. Doesn't mean I know who they are. That was the moment I realized I had no idea who I was, or where I was, or how I got there. Still, I wasn't panicked. I wasn't even curious in the normal way. It was more like I was watching a play, sitting in the audience of my own body, numb, detached, calm in a way that didn't feel natural, but didn't feel wrong either. I remember needing to pee. I told one of the uniformed guards. They looked at each other, shrugged, pulled on blue gloves, handed me a jug. That's when I realized I couldn't move. My legs were strapped down, one arm too. I only had one hand free. I placed the jug where I needed it, did my business, and handed it back. They dumped it out in the sink and sat back down like nothing happened. I remember thinking, this is interesting. No fear, just observing. I asked their names. I think one of them said Brody, and the woman said something too, but it didn't land. Even the names sounded off, but familiar at the same time. It's strange how your brain comes back online, slowly, like lights flickering in a massive warehouse, one bulb at a time. I started noticing bruises on my arms, deep ones, black and purple, something wrapped around my feet. My face felt wrong too, like something had happened to it. But I couldn't describe it. I just knew. And then someone walked in, a nurse I think, and said, "Hi John, how are you doing? Your room's ready." The two guards stood up. One went to my feet, the other to my side. They unstrapped me, told me to hold out my hands, and without question I did. They put on handcuffs, then helped me up. My legs were weak, barely working. They added cuffs around my ankles as well, and threw a blanket over me and wheeled me into the hallway. I remember the hallways, stark, white, echoey. We went into an elevator and up to a new room, a small one with a bed and a bathroom. Before leaving, one of them pointed and said, "Bathroom's there if you need it. We're just outside." They got me settled, then they left. I lay there. The light was soft. Might have been midday. I fell asleep again. When I woke up, I had to pee again, but this time I wasn't tied down. So I got up and headed to the bathroom. I passed the door and noticed two different guards were posted outside. Again, a man and a woman. This time the woman was loud, telling stories about getting drunk and going on some wild trip. I think their voices had woken me up. The bathroom was weird. I tried to lift the toilet seat up, but it wasn't separate from the base. There was a tiny toothbrush on the sink. I brushed my teeth and looked up into the mirror. That's when I saw my face, black and blue, swollen, not mine. I stared at my own reflection like I was seeing myself for the first time. No emotion, just observation. Huh, so this is what I look like now. Back to bed. A different woman came in, maybe a nurse or support staff. She asked if I was hungry. I said, sure. How about some peanut butter and toast, she offered. I said, okay. A few minutes later, she returned with it. I took one bite, and my eyes lit up. Oh my gosh, I said. This is delicious. And for the first time, I felt something. It was like tasting peanut butter toast for the first time in my life. Like it had never existed until that exact moment. I savored it every bite. She smiled and asked how I was doing, checked my feet, and left me with some crossword puzzles. I sat back up in the bed and worked through them. I didn't even know how to do them, but I did. It felt natural, strange, like muscle I hadn't used while I was flexing for the first time. Then I heard commotion outside the door, a female voice, firm, saying, well, she can't go in, and some back and forth between staff. I couldn't make sense of it. A few minutes later, the woman from before peeked in. Hi, John, she said. You have a visitor. A woman walked in. I recognized her face immediately. It was my mom. But I didn't cry. I didn't even feel joy. I just thought, this is interesting. She sat beside me and said, how's my Johnny? I looked at her and asked, Mom, what happened to me? I'm black and blue. Where am I? She touched my hand and said gently, you're going to be fine. Everything's going to be okay. I said, but where am I? You're at the hospital, she said. Just for now. Why? I'm not exactly sure. That's when I knew something was wrong. That wasn't how my mom would act. My mom would have been frantic, hugging me, demanding answers, crying maybe. But this was a performance. Polished, quiet, almost rehearsed. It didn't say anything. Just watched. And decided to keep watching. Not ask too many questions. Just observe. See what people did. Not long after, a nurse came in. Okay, we're ready to take you for your scan now, she said. She turned to my mom. Would you like to come along? Sure, my mom said. They brought the wheelchair, handcuffed me again, wrists and ankles, and covered me with a blanket. Nobody reacted. It was like this was all normal. We rode the elevator down to the basement. The nurse turned to the guards and said, you'll need to take the restraints off. He can't go in with those on. That's when I saw the machine. I guess it was a CT scan or something. I don't know. It looked sterile, cold, like something out of a movie. They unclipped me. I went inside. It was quiet in there, too quiet. My thoughts were getting louder. Who are these people? Why am I here? What happened? Am I in trouble? Why does no one care to ask me anything? Back out, shackles back on. They called it protocol. We went back up. My mom came with me to the room, but didn't stay long. I'll see you tomorrow, she said. I nodded. Dinner came later. It tasted like something my mom would have made. That's when it hit me again. Was that my mom? Night came. I fell asleep. Morning, same routine. New guards, crosswords, brushed my teeth. Then a woman came in and sat down and asked how I was doing. Pretty good, I guess. She smiled. That's good. Everything's going to be fine. I asked her, do you like your job? I love it, she said. Helping people is what I do. Her voice was warm and comforting. Later that evening, 2 different guards, older, more serious, handed me dinner. Then the phone rang. I heard the female guard answer, Yup, okay. What's the ETA on the bus? A pause. Okay, we'll get ready. My ears perked up. A few minutes later, the male guard came in. John, you might want to use the bathroom now. I did. When I came out, he said, I've got a note for you. He handed it to me, a small folded piece of paper. I looked at him for a moment, and then I read it. You're going to be okay. Your cousin. I smiled at the name. My cousin, I asked. He nodded. Yeah. You know your cousin, right? Yeah, of course I do. Good. Things are going to start moving now, John. Where we're taking you, you'll have some TV, kind of like a camp. Oh, and don't mention what your cousin does for a living, got it? I nodded. Time passed, more staff arrived, then a woman handed me a blaze orange outfit. I started walking towards the bathroom to change. No, she said, here. So I stripped right there in the room and put it on. They wheeled me down, outside into the cold. A van waited. They opened the small back door, pushed me inside onto a cold metal bench, no seatbelt, shackled. We drove. Past a McDonald's. I remember thinking, yeah, we're going to stop at McDonald's to get something to eat. We weren't stopping. We kept driving, then slowed down and pulled into a fenced-in lot. It looked like an old school or something. I opened the door. We went in through a back alley entrance. Inside there was yelling. I saw the male guard, the one who gave me the note, arguing at this front desk. Eventually he came back. Okay, John, you're going into the camp now. Remember what I said about your cousin. I nodded. Another guy at the desk looked at me and said coldly, you're lucky I respect Mac, or I'd be putting you somewhere else. They brought me into a room, made me get naked again, passed me a fresh orange jumpsuit and a pillow and blanket. Go down the hall, they said. When the door opens, turn right. Buzz. The door opened. I walked. The hallway was lined with rooms. Guys in bunks. They were watching me, tapping on the glass. I reached the end. A guard behind another glass door said, back against the wall, hands forward. I complied. The others started banging the glass, laughing and pointing. Then I was let in, and they took my handcuffs and shackles off. A guy looked me up and down. What are you doing? Hit the showers, as if I knew exactly what I was supposed to do. I did. Disgusting place. My foot was still bandaged. They'd given me a plastic bag to cover it. I showered, got dressed again, and walked back out. Another guy stopped me. What are you in here for? I don't know, I said. Don't play dumb with me, asshole. He called others over. More questioning. I don't remember what I even said. One guy asked, where are you from? I told him. Do you know so-and-so? Yeah, I know that guy. I was friends with his brother, and my parents used to hang around them back when I was a kid. Oh yeah? He looked at me dead in the eyes. Just so you know, I'm the guy who supplied them all with coke. I blinked. Listen, man, he said. These guys just want to know what you did. And if you're saying you don't remember, you better hurry up and tell everybody by tomorrow. And he walked away back to his bunk. And that's when I realized that whatever this wasn't my old reality. My new reality was altered, and I didn't